She truly starts missing you when your absence creates a void in her routine. At first, it might not seem like much. She's busy with her life, caught up in work, friends, or her own distractions. But what most men don't realize is that attraction and connection are tied deeply to patterns. When you've been a consistent part of her daily rhythm, whether it's a good morning text, late night conversations, or even just the comfort of knowing you're available, removing that suddenly leaves a space she can't ignore. It's in the small moments, when she reaches for her phone expecting your message and it isn't there, or when she wants to share something funny but remembers you're not around. That's when the missing begins to settle in. Women are emotional by nature, and emotions thrive on consistency. When you provide stability and presence, they grow used to it without realizing. The moment it's gone, it triggers a contrast that she can't hide from. She might try to distract herself, convincing herself she doesn't care, but the void will still speak louder than her thoughts. It's not about grand gestures or dramatic exits. It's the quiet absence of your energy that reminds her how much it shaped her days. The mistake many men make is not allowing that space to form. They over-communicate, they try to fill the silence with desperate attempts for attention. What they don't understand is that silence is often your greatest strength. By stepping back, you create the opportunity for her to reflect on what she had and what she's now missing. You give her mind the space to run back through the good memories, the laughter, the way she felt when you were around. That reflection is what builds longing. It's important to understand that her missing you doesn't begin the moment you leave. It begins when the routine you built with her collides with the reality of your absence. That's when she realizes you weren't just another guy passing through. You became part of her emotional rhythm. And once that rhythm is broken, her heart starts pulling her thoughts back to you. The man who knows how to step back with confidence and let the silence work for him will always be the man who stays on her mind long after he's gone. She begins to miss you for real when she realizes other men don't match your vibe. At first, she may try to convince herself that moving on is easy. She'll go out with friends, talk to new people, maybe even give attention to men who show interest. But as much as she tries to distract herself, she quickly notices something missing. No one carries themselves the way you do. No one makes her feel the same way you did. That contrast is powerful, and it's in that comparison where the missing starts to grow stronger. Women are highly intuitive, and they pick up on the smallest details. The way you spoke with confidence, the way you carried your energy without needing validation, the way you listened without losing your masculine frame. These are things that most men don't provide. When she's around others, she starts to sense the difference. Maybe the conversations feel forced. Maybe the attention feels cheap. Maybe the presence doesn't carry weight. And in that moment, she begins to replay her experiences with you in her mind. This is why you never need to compete or prove yourself against other men. If you've built real presence and displayed true masculinity, the comparison will take care of itself. She will naturally notice that while other men might be around, they don't bring the same calm, the same strength, the same balance of focus and confidence. And when she notices that gap, the feeling of missing you becomes unavoidable. The mistake men make is thinking they need to remind her of what she had. In reality, she reminds herself every time she interacts with someone new who falls short. You don't have to chase, you don't have to explain. You simply let her world show her the truth. That truth is that not every man is replaceable, and not every connection is easy to replicate. When she realizes other men don't match your vibe, that's when her mind starts pulling her back toward you. She feels the absence of what made you different, and that feeling grows into the kind of longing she can't easily shake off. She truly starts to miss you when she feels the emotional contrast of silence. When you're present in her life, she grows accustomed to the energy you bring, the sound of your voice, the tone of your texts, the reassurance of your attention. These small, consistent touches create comfort and familiarity, and she rarely stops to think about how much she relies on them. But when that attention disappears, the silence begins to weigh on her. What once felt normal now feels empty, and the absence speaks louder than any words could. At first, she may brush it off, telling herself she's fine without it. She'll distract herself with friends, work, or social media. But eventually, in those quiet moments when there's nothing to pull her focus, she feels the void. The lack of your presence highlights just how much space you actually occupied in her emotions. It's in the times when she instinctively goes to share something with you and remembers you're no longer there that the realization sets in. She misses the connection you gave her. This is why silence can be more powerful than constant communication. Many men panic at the thought of pulling back, thinking that if they don't chase, she'll forget them. But the truth is, silence creates space for her to feel the difference between having you and not having you. It forces her to confront the reality that she valued your presence more than she admitted. By not flooding her with attention, you allow her to actually feel the gap. Women are emotional, and emotions are triggered by contrasts. The contrast of your consistent presence followed by your sudden absence amplifies her awareness of what you meant to her. She doesn't just remember your words or your actions. She remembers the feeling you gave her. And the silence makes that feeling echo louder. When she's left alone with her thoughts and there's no distraction to cover up the emptiness, that's when missing you turns real. And the man who understands the power of silence never has to chase, because he knows that the absence itself can speak louder than anything he could ever say. She begins to miss you for real when her tests no longer work on you. Women often test men, sometimes without even realizing it, as a way of measuring their strength, their frame, and their emotional control. When she pulls back, delays a reply, or throws a bit of attitude, she's not always doing it to push you away. She's seeing how you'll respond. Most men fail this test because they react with neediness, chasing harder, getting upset, or begging for attention. That reaction gives her the power and kills her respect. But when you don't react, when you hold your ground and stay calm, it unsettles her in the best way possible. The moment she sees that her usual tactics don't shake you, her curiosity grows. She wonders why she can't control you the way she controls other men. That thought alone starts to replay in her mind, and it's that replay that builds the feeling of missing you. Instead of her being in control, now she's the one questioning, analyzing, and longing for your response. By not giving in to her tests, you've flipped the dynamic and shown her you're a man operating from strength, not desperation. This is when missing you becomes real, because the absence of your reaction is louder than any attention you could give. She's used to men caving, trying harder, doing more whenever she pulls away. When you don't play that game, she realizes she can't easily replace the way you carry yourself. That lack of control creates both respect and desire always fuels the feeling of longing. It's not about ignoring her or playing childish games. It's about showing through your actions that you won't compromise your value just to get her attention. That kind of stability makes her think twice, and it keeps you on her mind long after she's tried to move on. When she realizes her tests no longer control the outcome, that's when she truly starts to feel your absence, and that absence quickly turns into missing you, because she sees that you're the kind of man she can't easily bend or break. She starts missing you for real when she sees you focused on your own life instead of hers. Most men after separation or distance pour all their energy into chasing her, proving themselves, or trying to win her attention back. That only convinces her that she still holds the upper hand. But when you redirect that energy into your own growth, your own mission, and your own goals, it shifts the balance entirely. She notices when you're no longer orbiting around her and instead building something of your own. And that realization stirs something deep inside her. It's not about trying to make her jealous. It's about genuinely living in a way that shows you're not dependent on her validation. Whether it's improving your fitness, advancing in your career, or simply carrying yourself with more discipline, she can sense when your energy is no longer chasing, but creating. And the moment she feels that shift, she begins to reflect on what she's lost. Women are drawn to men who are on their path, who are in motion, who aren't stagnant. When she sees you embody that, the longing naturally begins to build. What makes her miss you is not just the absence of your presence, but the growth that happens in that absence. She remembers how it felt to be around you, but now she sees that version of you evolving, becoming stronger, more focused, more untouchable. That contrast hits hard because she realizes you didn't fall apart without her. You leveled up. And in her mind, she begins to question if she underestimated your value. This is why the best thing you can do is keep moving forward. The less you try to pull her back, the more she gets pulled toward you by the gravity of your progress. It's in the moments when she scrolls and sees your consistency, hears about your discipline, or simply notices the calm in your demeanor that the missing becomes unavoidable. You're no longer just a memory. You're proof of growth. And that image stays locked in her thoughts when she sees you thriving without needing her validation. That's when missing you transforms from a passing thought into a lasting feeling she can't ignore. She begins to miss you for real when the reality of your absence finally sets in. At first, she might feel empowered by distance, convinced she can easily move on and fill the gap with distractions, friends, or even the attention of other men. But time has a way of stripping away illusions. When the excitement fades and the noise quiets down, she realizes that there's no longer a steady presence in her life that carried weight. That emptiness hits hardest when she's alone, late at night, or during moments when she used to lean on you emotionally. And this is where the truth sinks in. Your presence wasn't just about the things you said or did. It was about the stability and energy you provided. Every woman knows deep down when a man's presence brought calmness, leadership, and security. Once that presence is gone, it's not easily replaced. She may try to distract herself, but the mind always comes back to what felt real. And in her quiet moments, she'll start replaying old memories, conversations, and experiences because your absence is forcing her to recognize how much space you occupied in her world. The strongest longing comes when she realizes that no matter how much attention she gets elsewhere, it doesn't carry the same weight. She might laugh, she might go out, but deep down there's an undeniable void. And the more time passes, the heavier that void becomes. This is when she begins to truly miss you. Not because of need, but because of the reality that what you brought into her life is rare. Most men panic when they sense distance and try to fill the silence with more effort, but that only weakens their presence. The man who allows the absence to speak for itself creates the most powerful impact. It's not about ignoring her. It's about letting the space between you reveal the truth she has to feel on her own. When she finally confronts that reality, when she sees that the gap you left isn't being filled by anyone else, that's when missing you becomes real. It's no longer just a fleeting thought. It becomes a lasting pull she can't easily silence.